Since centuries and years, through heat and stormy weathers, I come when conjured, answer every call. The reason's plain enough. I am a Crossroads demon, the gatekeeper at hell's substation wall. Open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have everything. God, what a nuisance. Balancing on a stepladder that was older than sin, I dunked my rag in the bucket and scrubbed at the bright, garish sign trying to get the grime off. Didn't do much good. Fresh dust from the highway settled back on the orange surface almost immediately, but nobody asked my opinion. The owner said wipe it down once a day, so I wipe it down. Not my problem. Cars streaked past without slowing, indifferent to the little lonely shop glowing in the dark, its windows lit up like pale squares in the black. With the deeply satisfying feeling of a duty fulfilled, I climbed down, dumped the dirty water under a scraggly little pine, and trudged back behind the counter. I put the kettle on, fixed my hair in the mirror. The glass gave me back an unimpressed look at a woman ground down by 52 years of living, wearing a blue work smock embroidered with the words "All for you." A mop of split ends framed a face that had long since given up any pretense of youth, potato nose, eyes like raisins pressed into a lump of risen dough, and I found myself genuinely glad that youth was behind me, that I no longer had to suffer over being plain. There was an upside to that, too. A plain, middle-aged woman doesn't lie awake worrying about working night shifts in the middle of nowhere. If I'd been younger, prettier, I'd never have agreed to be stuck out here at the intersection of a busy highway and the little road leading back to my village, where the only customers were long-haul truckers hungry for female company. The nearest house was 10 kilometers off, and you could scream yourself hoarse without anyone hearing a thing. But jobs were scarce back home, so I was lucky to have the shop at all. "You know, you're going to be a sweet little old lady," I told my reflection, dug out my lipstick, and smeared bloody red across my mouth. I sighed, poured my tea, and stared out the window at the glittering river of headlights. Ding, a customer. I set down my cup, patted what remained of my hair, and turned around and froze. Something long was shuffling into the shop. Naked, hairless, covered in gray scales, and worst of all, headless. Or not exactly headless, it had a head, but it was carrying it tucked under one arm like a cabbage. Hey, you, my legs went out from under me. I grabbed the counter with both hands and screamed. "What are you screaming for?" The head inquired pleasantly and stretched its thin oval face into a smile. Quite a smile. It was lips peeling back to show small triangular teeth, some of them chipped, some of them going black at the roots. You got a goose, a goose, a goose, the creature confirmed. Its arms, grotesquely long, stirred into motion, lifted the head higher, and it began methodically examining the shelves. "No goose, what do you mean, no goose? The sign says we have everything, yes. Goose, no," the creature bellowed at the top of its lungs. "A goose is everything. Give me a goose. I'll pay a silver ruble. Give me a goose. I'll pay a silver ruble." I clutched the counter and let out a wail that surprised even me. Old ugly, a life not worth much, and now this thing would lose its temper, not find its goose, and beat me to death. That was how it was going to end. Random things surfaced in my mind. Stealing currants as a girl with my friends from old Nura's garden, and my Mitka, God rest him. Alive as life before my eyes, he drank, sure, but he was a good man, a kind man, and my ungrateful daughter who'd run off to the capital. Then I got angry at myself. I wasn't even dead yet, and I was already blubbering. I'd sniveled my way through my whole life. The least I could do was die on my feet. "A goose is not everything." I wiped my face, shot out from behind the counter like I'd been launched from a spring, and screamed at the uninvited guest with everything I had. "Goose comes tomorrow. Now stop your wailing. I've got plenty of your kind wandering in here, and there's only one of me." And then something extraordinary happened. The head shut up and looked me in the eye. A cold, fishy stare from unblinking, colorless eyes. It made me shudder. I told myself to stand still and face it. "What kind of goose?" "I need a live one." The creature went still, waiting. "You'll get your live goose," I said, more or less in command of my own voice, already working out in the back of my mind how I might steal my neighbor Vasilich's goose to buy back my own skin. I waved my hands at the thing like I was shooing a cat. "Now go on, get out of here. You're scaring off my other customers. Come back tomorrow." Incredibly, the dreadful visitor left. It even closed the door behind it, in accordance with the hand-scratched sign. I shook until morning. Even a swig from the emergency anti-stress bottle of brandy kept in the stockroom didn't help. Snatches of half-remembered prayers floated through my head, fragments of ghost stories, that old film where the hero fights the demonic man-eating plant. But after that, the night went on as normal. A few big rigs pulled in, drivers wanting something to eat and a bit of beer, and then a taxi showed up carrying a carful of cheerful drunk men. At 9 in the morning, right on schedule, the owner arrived, a fat man going bald with a slick, appraising look in his eye. So, Lidotchka, good night's takings. And why is it such a mess in here? I looked at the floor. Lord have mercy. From the doorway to the counter, a thick layer of gray, greasy dirt, drunk. Had to drag him in. He was hollering, covered in filth. I didn't get a chance to clean it up. I lied smoothly and bolted for the door before I missed the only morning bus. I dozed for a couple of hours, then pried my eyes open and tried to think. Quit the job? No point. Leave town. With what money exactly? I made the only right decision, hard as it was. I had never stolen anything in my life, grabbed a sack, and headed out to the backyard where my property bordered Vasilich's. He kept geese. Here, gosling, gosling, gosling. Here, gosling, gosling, gosling. A nosy gander was caught within 20 minutes. On the rattling bus, I had only one fear, that someone from the village would also be heading into town. But luck was with me. I was the only passenger, and the driver, an ancient gray-haired old man, had long since decided that such riffraff as passengers were beneath his notice. I stuffed the goose into the stockroom, managed to recite the Lord's Prayer from memory more or less, and settled in to wait. Sure enough, on the stroke of midnight, he came. Wipe your feet. People have to walk in here, and I'm the one who mops up after you. The sound of my own voice gave me strength. The creature shuffled its feet on the mat, and it occurred to me that I ought to put down a bigger one. Keeping my eyes carefully away from that horrible head, I said, "Stand right there, don't touch the merchandise, have your ruble ready, I'll bring the goose." Silently begging forgiveness from the poor bird I was handing over for God knows what purpose, I set the bag on the counter. Here is a silver ruble. A clawed hand thrust toward me, clutching a large coin stamped with a double-headed eagle. Look at that, I thought. That coin is old, antique, worth serious money. The tall one was already at the door when I screwed up my courage and called after him, "Thank you for your business, come back and see us." "Bring your friends." He turned around and gurgled, "I'll bring them." I spent the rest of the day dealing with the livestock, then slept, and the next night here we go again. In shambles, a hairy one, no eyes visible, no mouth visible, mumbling and mashing its words. "Mistress, they say you've got everything. I need a mouse. A mouse tomorrow. Special orders are special. And tell whoever sent you, you place the order first, come back the next day to pick it up. All right. Tomorrow it is. The mouse was no trouble. I had plenty of those in the cellar. Only cost me for the cheese in the trap. The hairy thing took the mouse in something like a bird's claw, tucked it away in its fur, and handed me a pearl necklace in return. The next day I drove into town to the pawn shop. You won't believe it, the appraiser took one look at that silver ruble and counted out 30,000 on the spot. I'd never held that kind of money in my life. The necklace I kept to myself. On the third night, a woman came, nose like that, wart on the nose like that, one tusk jutting out of her mouth, gray braids swinging loose from under her headscarf. A real Baba Yaga, right down to the bone leg. I thought to myself, no, next to her I'm a beauty queen. They could put me on television. I've been told that you have everything. I'd like a couple liters of animal blood. I'll give you a mirror in exchange. What exactly is wrong with your manners? This is a shop, not a charity. Everything has its price. 30 gold coins, up front. I don't do credit. Oh my, they're robbing an old woman. Where am I supposed to get that kind of money, my little dove, my sweet peach? Not my problem. You brought it, of course. What else was she going to do? I drained the blood from my own cow, felt bad for the poor animal, but what can you do? And here's the thing, I reached into my purse later that same day and there was the silver ruble again. Well, how about that? Bottomless, is it? Thank you kindly, you ugly bastard. After that it became routine. Midnight and they come. One at a time, too, they were listening to me. I'd asked for one per night since I was working alone and there were so many of them. Everyone needed serving, every order needed filling. How they sorted out the queue among themselves, I have no idea, but I was never short of customers. There was one incident, though. A short fellow came in, 2 heads, scraggly green beard, horns, and he'd only just started placing his order when the door opened and in walked a man. An ordinary flesh-and-blood man, 10 years younger than me. He took one look and started screaming, then crashed to the floor in a dead faint. He'd fallen badly, hit his head on the corner. By the time he stopped moving, he wasn't moving at all. My little 2-headed customer perked right up, beard quivering. He wanted that one, he said. Fresh, still soft. The hell you will, get out. 2 hours. I'm holding an auction. He left cursing, but my word is law. And in exactly 2 hours, they packed the room, crooked ones, hunched ones, tall ones, fat ones, skinny ones, fanged ones, and toothless ones, headed ones and headless ones, some with feet, some with hooves. Shoving each other, throwing out bids, everyone wanted the corpse. I sold it to the goat-legged one for 2 little bottles. Went home, drank the first one, then the second right after. Tasted foul, swampy, like rotten fish. Then I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself. I was beautiful. In my youth, I'd been playing as a fence post. God only knows why my Mitka never turned me away, but now I was something. Full chest, firm and high, trim figure. Face like a snow maiden, pale and smooth. Eyes like deep water, a braid as thick as my wrist hanging down to my waist. The young woman in the mirror laughed until she shook. I felt so good. I drove to the shop and introduced myself to the owner. My mother had passed. I said I was her daughter, also named Lidka. I'd be living here now, and did he have any work for me? He looked me over and clicked his tongue. Sorry to hear about your mother. But you, yes, I'll take you on. Honest woman she was. Never lifted a kopeck from me. And the foot traffic she brought in, Lord, she kept up with all of it. You're anything like her, we'll get along fine. Oh, the foot traffic, I thought, smiling to myself. That's because I buried a merchant's herb by the road, charmed, handed over by one charming creature in exchange for rotten eggs, and business has been booming ever since. So that's how I keep spinning. I've sold the bottomless ruble in 5 different cities now. Some of the gold and gems the creatures bring me I've quietly moved along too. One old book I drove all the way to Moscow to sell. I built myself a proper house, put up a satellite dish, set up a full operation so I'd never have to scramble for supplies, ducks, entrails, animal blood, whatever the clients need. Hired 3 farmhands. I'm not running a whole collective farm by myself. Besides, I have a suitor now. He was just passing through, caught sight of me, and that was it. No love potion required. He complains about my night shifts, but that's fine. Tomorrow I'll pour him a little calming tonic. One of my tailed regulars owes me a delivery, and his jealousy will vanish like it never existed. I've drawn up a proper price list, too. I know exactly what to charge for rat's feet or fish heads. The owner can't say enough good things about me. Business is brisk. I've got the golden touch. Every night except Saturday. I'm a woman and a married one at that. I need time at home with my husband. I never miss a shift, never get sick, and I turned down the offer of a second clerk. My reasons are my own. Why would I want extra eyes and ears around? Besides, I'm smart and I'm beautiful. One more thing, the moment a client comes in, I make it a rule to hang the closed sign on the door, except when someone's ordered a fresh corpse. The people who wander in are strangers passing through. Nobody here is going to come looking for them, and I can't afford to turn down orders. Business is business. You want to get ahead in life, you do what it takes. So I do what it takes. Come visit us at the shop. We're open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have everything.